guys, I'm back again. My name is Carrie Petty. I've been teaching Pilates for about 20 years. And I gave you a couple of YouTube videos during this time that a lot of us are confined to work on. And those were really the basics of Pilates. This is Tavish. What I also promised you was to take some of those exercises that we did that are fairly simple, but they're super effective, and to put them on a foam roller. So this is going to be more of a foam roller workout. What it does for you is it puts you on an unstable surface. So with the unstable surface, a lot of times it gives you better feedback on whether or not you're doing the exercise correctly. So most of the time when we're doing these exercises, what you're looking for is the foam roller should not move. Even a small amount, it shouldn't move. So it's kind of your teacher or that time to give you feedback. So you first should try those exercises that we're doing today on the floor. And then you can take them to a foam roller if you have one. If you don't, I would suggest Pilates.com. I'm just about 5'3", so these regular foam rollers work well for me. If you're over about 5'8", Pilates.com, which is Balanced Body, does have a 4-foot foam roller, and you might feel more comfortable there. I see a lot of people use the foam roller as only kind of like a torture device on rolling out their IT band, but it really can be a mini massage for you. So that's what we're going to do first, is just kind of a gentle warm-up. We are going to have the foam roller move to start with, and so that's what we're going to do now. So if you have your foam roller, what you want to do is you want to lie lengthwise on it. So what I do to make sure that I can fit on it is I just scooch down to the end so that I know that my tailbone is at the very end, and then I know I can fit on it, because the worst thing that you could do would be to have your head off. So to start with, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to roll side to side. So what I'm rolling on here is the muscles that run lengthwise across the spine. I'm also rolling between my my shoulder blades, and usually that is a tight area for most of us. So this really does feel super good. So usually I get to an area that like hurts so good when you're rolling side to side, and I may just stop there for a second. I'm a massage therapist too, so you know, if you get to a point that hurts a little bit, a lot of time the massage therapist might put their finger there and hold it, so you can just hold that pressure with that foam roller against that muscle, generally the rhomboid muscle there. Now you can move a little bit deeper into this kind of massage of those muscles by moving your arms. So as I go side to side, I'm moving my arms with me. This may not work. All right, I'm just going to change the arm position, so you're going to have to move, Tavish. So one arm's going to go up, one arm's going to go down, and again, we are moving here because this is just a gentle warm-up. And again, it is a great warm-up anytime, especially if you're sitting around a little bit more and maybe not moving as much, and so that low back starts to hurt. All right. We're going to come back to the position of starting to work on those basic exercises that I talked about. So one of the things that I did is I talked about you trying to find neutral spine, and we worked with that pelvic clock. So here's my clock face. Belly button is at 12 o'clock. Top of the pubic bone is at 6 o'clock. So those numbers should be on a level plane if I'm in a neutral spine position. So what does that mean? So if I'm a person who likes to overarch their back, then 12 o'clock is higher than 6. You see a clear area above that foam roller. If I'm the opposite, more of a flat back position or a tightening with my butt, then the clock goes the other direction. But again, it's a great way just for you to help you to find neutral is just to rock between 12 and 6. Good. And then slowly make that rocking smaller, and then just pause here. So trying to get those deep abdominals work so the pelvis stays still when we start to do a lot of these other exercises. So I'm going to press my fingertips into this area. You can use both hands, but I'm trying to keep Tavish away from my face for a moment. So I'm trying to pull my stomach in away from my fingertips, and then release the tension. And again, press the fingertips in, try to draw the stomach in away from the fingertips, and then pause. So we're trying to get that deep abdominal muscle working. Remember, that is like your weightlifter spell. So if you haven't heard about that, then go back to the basics. But Pilates is all about working the infrastructure on the body. And so that's why these exercises are so small, because the movements that you're using when you use those deep abdominal muscles are very, very small. So we are trying to stabilize the spine. It has a tendency to move into a rounded position when we're on a desk all day long. Some people like to arch their back, and so what we're working is trying to get that weightlifter's belt that you have inside of you, the transverse muscle, to pull in from the front and the back to stabilize the spine. When you do that in an exercise, that provides the stability, or in an athletic endeavor like tennis, football, holding that position with the deep abdominal muscle, so then you can quickly move what you need to move another part of the body, either the legs or the arms. So I'm trying to get my weightlifter's belt engaged, and now I'm going to challenge that with a small exercise where the leg is going to move up and down. So you're going to join me back on your back again. I'm going to pull those abdominals in so that weightlifter's belt is working. Now my hands are going to be down by our side, and that's not cheating, because we're not trying to be circus performers that we can lift our arms and legs up and balance. We're just trying to get the feel of those deep abs pulling up and in. So I'm going to challenge that by lifting one leg up. Notice that the knee is bent at a 90-degree angle. The knee is over the hip. I'm going to slowly start to reach my leg down to the floor. Now when I do, even me, I started to move a little bit side to side. That means my ab muscle is not engaged enough for what I'm asking it to do. So as the leg starts to reach down to the floor, it pulls and almost makes me want to arch my back if I don't tighten that abdominal muscle enough. So I just go about halfway down toward the floor and then slowly back up. So what you don't want to see or feel is that when the leg goes down, that you start to like move to one side to try to stabilize. We're trying to stabilize center. Again, this muscle wraps and kind of encases the low back vertebrae. So I am tightening my abdominal muscle to stabilize, keep my pelvis still against the movement of the leg. All right, I'm just going to switch sides so that left leg comes up. Always feels different one side to the other. Abs are pulled up and in against the movement of the leg. And this one's a little bit harder. I feel a little bit more shaky moving from one side to the other. Good. One more. Good. All right, now I'm going to work on side-to-side balance. So we have the pelvic clock. 12 to 6 is what we worked on. We can also work on 3 and 9 because most of us are a little bit crooked one side to the other. Typically what happens is that if you are, say you're right-handed, then your right side is stronger and it pulls together a little bit. And then as we age, or we do like an athletic endeavor for a long period of time, then you could say that a tennis player that only uses one arm, that arm gets stronger and tighter, and when it gets tighter, it starts to kind of pull down and in together. So that can have changes, even bony structure changes as you age or do it for a long period of time. So what we're trying to do is to keep the balance side to side. So I'm going to think about 3 and 9 being at technically my ASIS, or what we kind of colloquially call our hip bones. And so what I want to do, I could picture balancing a glass of water here. My deep abdominal muscles are pulled in. And then what I want to do is to slowly let that leg fall out to the side. As it falls out to the side, the tendency is for everything else to go with it. And you'll notice that, especially this exercise, that as the leg goes out to the side, that the foam roller really wants to start to wiggle. It's not gonna, you're not gonna fall off the foam roller, so you're really trying to feel and listen for any movement in the foam roller. That just means you need to try to tighten those deep abs more. And remember, you're tightening the infrastructure of the body. It's not about tightening your butt, it's not about tightening your legs more, because this exercise is also working on the flexibility of your hip joint. So as your leg moves to the side, whoop, my left leg was trying to join in to help me. So as I move the left leg to the side, the right leg shouldn't move, nor should the foam roller move as I move. Good. All right, we worked a little bit on shoulder stabilization too. So that, again, this is a nice way to feel the shoulder stabilization. So my spine is lined up on the foam roller. Here I'm in a neutral position. If I reach my arms up, this is the people that like to round their shoulders too much, so they're shortening the front of the body, and then come back to a neutral position. So now I'm steadying myself, so as I move my arms all over the place, it requires a little bit more of those deep abs pulling in. The opposite of that would be pinching your shoulders together. Now I can really feel this even more than I do on the mat because it really kind of digs into the foam roller. So again, that's not where I want to be. I want to be wide across my shoulders and wide across the front. Inhale here, rounding the shoulders up. Come back to a neutral position. So I'm wide across the back, pinch the shoulder blades together, and then come back in a neutral position. Good. All right, we worked on the head and neck placement too. The feeling is like a nodding of the head that starts to keep the head and the neck in alignment. So as I start to move, I can feel my hair kind of rustling on the foam roller as I move. And then I can start to peel it up so my head and neck stays in alignment with my upper back. It doesn't pull forward here, and it doesn't reach up here. Again, that causes a whole lot of tension. All right, we're going to switch the weight now. So we did an exercise that was called marching. So we're going to try that again. So I'm going to pull my abs in. All of this area feels super tight, like I could bounce a quarter off my stomach here. I'm going to lift my right leg up. The foam roller shouldn't move, and then bring the leg back down. Okay. Tighten my abs. Remember, pulling up on the pelvic floor helps that. Lift that left leg up, and then bring it down. The tendency is, even for me, when I start to pick that right leg up, is just to let everything shift to the side. Now I'm on the foam roller, I feel, oh my gosh, I really shifted my weight. I want to keep it centered and balanced. And then when I do that, the work goes actually into the leg and back down. So there's not a matter of tightening the butt. Again, you're tightening the deep abdominal muscles. It will start to flatten out your stomach. That's the flat stomach muscle. Yeah, so I'm transferring that weight. Now, if you really want to challenge yourself, we can add arms and legs. So we call this kind of dead bug. So now it's right arm, left leg. And again, you can see me shaking a little bit. Inhale back down. Tighten the belly again. Left arm, right leg. Slowly back down. And when I come back down, you also don't want to just let go of everything because you get that little wiggle at the bottom. So it's about keeping those abdominals engaged against how many number of reps you're going to do. I'm going to recommend 4 to 5. And back down. And again, concentrating, pulling up on the pelvic floor, tightening the deep abdominal muscles. Get the core muscles working first, then the mover muscles, lifting the arm and the leg. And again, I went sideways a little bit, and then slowly back down. Good. So that's basically taking those basic exercises that we did before and adding an instability to it. And that's what the Pilates equipment does, like your chair here, that it adds movement to it. And when you add movement, it requires more stability for you. So it's a step up from just doing it on the mat. Thanks for joining me, and I hope you start to love Pilates as much as I do.